directors in modern history have shaped cinema quite like Christopher Nolan. He's one of the rare filmmakers who can secure a massive blockbuster budget for a high-concept, original idea, and then convince millions of people worldwide to sit in a theater and obsess over theoretical physics, inverted timelines, or the architecture of dreams. Every single one of his films demands something from the audience. He doesn't just hand you a story, he hands you a puzzle. Today, we're taking on the near-impossible task of ranking the top 10 Christopher Nolan films of all time. Film is deeply personal, so this is just one perspective. Be sure to share your own list at the end. 10. Insomnia, 2002. Starting us off at number 10 is Insomnia, easily one of the most underrated entries in Nolan's filmography. Coming right off the heels of Memento, this was Nolan's first foray into studio filmmaking, and while it lacks the flashy, non-linear gimmicks of his later works, it's a brilliant, slow-burn psychological thriller. Set in a small Alaskan town where the sun never sets, Al Pacino gives a hauntingly weary performance as a homicide detective, unraveling under the weight of severe sleep deprivation and guilt. Opposing him is Robin Williams, who completely sheds his comedic persona to deliver a terrifyingly subtle performance as a cold, calculating killer. It's a tight, atmospheric, and deeply tense character study that proves Nolan doesn't need huge set pieces to keep you on the edge of your seat. 9. Tenet, 2020. At number 9, we have Tenet, unquestionably Nolan's most divisive and brain-melting experiment. Love it or find it utterly baffling, you have to respect the sheer audacity of what he pulled off here. Instead of traditional time travel, Nolan introduces time inversion, allowing object and person trajectories to move backward through the present. The result? Action set pieces unlike anything ever put on film, from reverse fistfights to inverted car chases. While the dialogue mixing caused some headaches, and the plot requires a PhD in physics to fully grasp on a first view, Tenet is a film that aggressively rewards rewatches. Once the puzzle pieces click, it's an exhilarating cinematic spectacle. 8. Batman Begins, 2005. Before 2005, comic book movies were largely seen as campy or flashy, style over substance fare. Batman Begins changed the trajectory of Hollywood blockbusters forever by taking the caped crusaders seriously. Nolan grounded Gotham in grit, crime, and tangible realism. Christian Bale captured the deep trauma and theatrical drive of Bruce Wayne like no actor before him, supported by an incredible ensemble including Cillian Murphy, Liam Neeson, and Michael Caine. Batman Begins wasn't just a great superhero origin story. It was a compelling crime drama about fear, redemption, and legacy. Without this foundational success, modern cinematic storytelling wouldn't look the way it does today. 7. Dunkirk, 2017. Coming in at number 7 is Dunkirk, a war movie stripped down to its barest, most visceral essentials. Rather than focusing on character backstories, melodrama, or political speeches, Nolan throws you directly into the desperate survival of 400,000 Allied soldiers trapped on a beach. The narrative operates on 3 distinct, overlapping timelines. The Mole, 1 week on land; the sea, 1 day on the water; the air, 1 hour in the sky. Together with Hans Zimmer's relentlessly ticking score, built around a Shepard tone to create an endless sense of rising panic, Dunkirk feels less like a historical film and more like a heart-pounding sensory survival thriller. 6. Memento, 2000. This is the movie that put Christopher Nolan on the map and announced him as a generational talent. Memento follows Leonard Shelby, Guy Pearce, a man suffering from anterograde amnesia, attempting to track down his wife's killer using a complex system of Polaroid photos, notes, and tattoos. To force the audience into Leonard's fractured reality, Nolan tells the story in reverse. Every time a new scene starts, you have no idea how the main character got there or who he's talking to, placing you in his exact, disorienting shoes. It remains a masterclass in screenwriting and editing, proving that structure is story when placed in the right hands. 5. The Prestige, 2006. Every magic trick consists of 3 parts or acts: the pledge, the turn, and the prestige. Nestled right between 2 Batman films, The Prestige is Nolan's dark, obsession-fueled masterpiece about 2 rival magicians in Victorian London. Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale deliver career-defining performances as men who systematically dismantle their own lives, relationships, and sanity just to perform the ultimate illusion. It's a film built like a magic trick itself. Every clue, line of dialogue, and subtle motif is hidden in plain sight from the very first frame. When the final reveal hits, it's both astonishing and deeply tragic, making it perhaps Nolan's most rewatchable film. 4. Oppenheimer, 2023. At number 4 is Oppenheimer, a breathtaking historical epic that turned a 3-hour drama composed largely of men talking in dark rooms into a global box office sensation and multi-Oscar winner. Cillian Murphy gives a transcendent performance as J. Robert Oppenheimer, capturing the genius, arrogance, and devastating guilt of the father of the atomic bomb. Nolan treats the development of the bomb not as a standard biopic, but as a ticking clock thriller, culminating in the Trinity test, a masterpiece of sound design, practical effects, and visual tension. Beyond the science, it's a sobering look at political betrayal, moral compromise, and the haunting reality of a world altered forever. 3. Inception, 2010. What happens when you take a classic heist movie and set it inside the architecture of the human mind? You get Inception, a high-concept sci-fi masterpiece that defined an era of filmmaking. Leonardo DiCaprio leads a phenomenal cast playing corporate thieves who infiltrate dreams to steal and plant ideas. Nolan crafts a universe with intricate, rigid rules and then builds mind-bending set pieces inside them, from the gravity-defying rotating hallway fight to the cascading, multi-layered dream levels. Balanced by a deeply emotional core about grief and memory, and featuring that hauntingly ambiguous spinning top, Inception proved that summer blockbusters can be brilliantly intelligent. 2. The Dark Knight, 2008. The Dark Knight isn't just widely regarded as the greatest superhero movie ever made. It's one of the finest crime thrillers in cinematic history. Nolan elevated the genre into an epic Michael Mann-esque urban drama about chaos, order, and the fragility of morality. Heath Ledger's magnetic, terrifying performance as the Joker redefined what a cinematic villain could be, earning a posthumous Academy Award and creating an indelible pop culture icon. Every dynamic between Batman, the Joker, and Harvey Dent hits with thematic weight. It's tense, relentless, and grand in a way few blockbusters have ever achieved since. 1. Interstellar, 2014. Taking the crown at number 1 is Interstellar. While The Dark Knight or Inception might be the quintessential choices for many, Interstellar stands out as Nolan's grandest, most emotionally resonant accomplishment. On the surface, it's an epic space odyssey about humanity seeking a new home among the stars, backed by real scientific concepts, jaw-dropping visual effects, and Hans Zimmer's sublime, organ-heavy score. But beneath the black holes, time dilation, and wormholes lies a profoundly intimate story about the bond between a father and his daughter. Moments like Cooper watching decades of missed messages from his children, the terrifying isolation of the water planet, and the heart-wrenching climax inside the Tesseract leave an emotional impact that few films ever achieve.